Hey guys, it's CATALEAH. So I have a very exciting video for you guys today. I'm going to be building a very large bioactive and naturalistic enclosure, and I'm going to be doing this in collaboration with Houston Frogs of Houston, Texas. And yeah, we're just going to take you step by step through the building of this tank, and I will include links in the description to where you can buy these products that we're using, and basically everything is through Houston Frogs. So yeah, just check the links in the description for those products and you can build your own bioactive and naturalistic enclosure at home. So next we got some silicone.
Yeah, you want to make sure you get silicone 1. This is 100% pure silicone. If you get the silicone 2, it actually has mold inhibitors, so that's actually bad for your animals.
And then just gaps and cracks spray.
Yeah, you got some great stuff right here. You can actually use the Pond and Stone one, the black one. They don't sell it here at Home Depot. You mainly just can get it online, so that's why we get this one.
So to start, go ahead and take this thing out. We definitely don't want that. Get out of here. Begin by arranging your cork flats along the back side of the tank. This is going to provide for extra stability for the background we're going to make. You can also add cork rounds like we did here, which will give your animal more places to hide. So we want to make sure all of these pieces stay in place. So grab your silicone and begin outlining each piece with the silicone to glue it to the surface of the tank. You may want to outline the outside of each piece for extra support with the silicone. After you have secured all of the cork, get your gaps and cracks spray and try... Oh my god! Try and begin making the background for your tank. So you want to just spray this stuff all over the entirety of the background, leaving at least enough room for the substrate and the drainage layer, which will fill the bottom of the tank.
So now we're going to carve the foam and make a nice rough platform to put the silicone on so they'll take hold. This is giving a good platform for the silicone to get good adhesion to the foam. This will even out any imperfections as well. So right now we're putting a base layer of mold inhibitor free silicone, and after we're done with this we're going to put a layer of substrate, and then we're going to go ahead and continue on doing it layer by layer until we cover the whole background. So I'm just sort of doing this segment first just to make sure that it doesn't dry before I have a chance to put the substrate on. This is such a large background.
Now you're pouring the dirt on top?
Yeah. So we've covered portions of this with silicone and now the background mix. I would normally do this all in one go. This is such a large background. I wanted to do it in patches to make sure that the silicone didn't dry before I was able to get to it, because otherwise the background won't adhere. So what we're going to do then is we're going to flip the tank, and we're going to use all this excess background material that's on top. We're going to recollect it and then use it on those spots that are still barren and make a nice cohesive background. Okay, so now we see the areas that are still barren. The light will shine through the foam. We'll go ahead and we'll patch these areas with the silicone and then with the dirt that we've collected down below. And then after that, we'll let it dry for a couple of hours and we'll start doing the substrate layers. So now we're going to fill in the gaps anywhere that didn't get enough substrate on. We're going to go ahead and put more silicone on and layer with more substrate. Make sure we get a nice thick layer that vine plants can go ahead and adhere to with their roots. So we're going to flip this one more time. We're going to blow off the excess substrate, and again, for the last time, we're going to do fine touch up on any fine spots that were missed. Just make sure we have a nice solid background. You could use an air compressor for this too, but since we don't have one hooked up, I'm just trying to do it by hand. See, we have a couple of spots that still need to be touched up. That's not too bad though. The main thing is that we want a nice thick layer. Over here, we'll need to do a little bit more touch up because it's not as thick as I'd like.
So it's very important that you let the silicone dry for at least 48 hours before you add any live animals to the tank. So we're still just filling in final touches and making the background solid. So now we need to make a drainage system for the bottom of the tank.
So we have some of our 3D printed drainage grates. These we're just going to lay in, they're modular. So just go like this. And that's all there is to it.
Weighs a lot less than those hydro balls.
Yeah, it weighs a whole lot less. It's a lot more stable than egg crate. You don't have all the time spent having to cut the egg crate and recut it and recut again and then gluing PVC pipes to the bottom. I mean, it's all set and ready to go. 517.
So now we're laying down a barrier between the drainage layer and the soil.
So we're going to lay down a layer of our calcine clay. And what this is going to do is it's going to add a secondary drainage layer, but it's also going to absorb any excess water that flows through the soil, and it's going to capture that water and then be able to actually wick it back up to the substrate if the substrate becomes too dry. Also acts as an excellent source of calcium for isopods for their exoskeletal growth as well. And it also gives you a really nice seal too between the soil and the drainage layer, preventing any of the soil from falling into the drainage layer. So now we're going to lay down our tropical substrate. And the really cool thing about this is it has live cultures, so mycorrhizae fungi, and beneficial microbes as well. And these are all things that are going to jumpstart your soils in your tank, helping the plants to establish very rapidly versus a lot of soils where it takes a little bit for the plants to establish. It's also going to maintain moisture a lot better than typical ABG does for the first couple weeks, helping the soils to establish. And it's going to have excellent drainage at the same time, so it's not going to become waterlogged like things like cocoa fiber will be. And it's very nutrient rich for the plants as well, while maintaining the proper pH around a 5.5. I want something that would establish tanks very rapidly, something that would last for a minimum of 3 years, and something that was also going to help the plants to flourish. I'm going to use 3 bags of our tropical, and I'm going to top it with some ABG since it does have larger particulates in it that will eventually break down and add to the secondary nutrient layer. You know, if you feel ABG, it's very dry, but if you feel this tropical substrate, it feels moist to the touch, and that's because it is a living substrate. So it can't dry out completely, or else the live cultures in it won't survive. And you can see the moisture along the front of the tank from it too. And it only costs a couple dollars more than typical ABG too. It has very expensive ingredients in it, but it's well worth the results that we get with it. Now we're going to top it with a bag of ABG. And all this does is again adds those large particulates over time going to break down and add to the secondary layer. Also helps to drain water very quickly away from the surface, but it's going to drain a little bit slower through the secondary layers, which are going to help maintain proper soil moisture in those secondary layers. Okay, and now we're going to be ready for microfauna and plants.
Yay!
So we're going to go ahead and wet down the soil. We want to start establishing the moisture that the soil is going to need to be able to maintain both microfaunal and plant life. So we're going to put in some dwarf purples, And these dwarf purples are very tiny, very hard to see. But what these are going to do is they're going to be one of our primary cleaners. They're going to help to aerate the soil and also break down any kind of detritus on or below the soil. The next species that we're going to put in is going to be our Dalmatian scaber isopods. These are going to be a bit heavier duty. They're what are really going to be going after the skin sheddings, the poop from the geckos, any of the large items that otherwise the dwarf whites or dwarf purples are too small to be able to consume. So the next thing we're going to put in is going to be some tropical springtails. Now these tropical springtails are going to be one of the primary cleaners for any kind of mold or fungi. So it looked like it was a lot of water, but you notice it still hasn't gone down here yet. Not spraying the background yet because I'm waiting it to fully cure.
So we've put this centerpiece in here. Now we're going to start adding some plants.
So we're going to go ahead and start putting in some plants now. This will start growing up this piece of wood, which is going to be really nice once it roots into it. Then of course we want to put some pothos in. Pothos is a very good plant to start out with. It establishes rapidly. It's going to help to maintain proper moisture in the vivarium and also gives animals something to climb on as well. So again, something very common that you can get just about anywhere, but it's a very useful plant when it comes to these vivariums. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do is put some monstera in. So in this, we'll start climbing in the tank. Let's see, maybe we'll put it right there. Yeah, the next thing that we want to do is we have some spiral ginger. We're going to put in a couple cuttings of that. I'm putting one right here. Sometimes I'll rearrange plants multiple times until I get them just right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give each plant a directed watering as well.
Well, here's the finished product of our tropical bioactive DIY vivarium. This one was built specifically for geckos. Hopefully it helped you and you learned something, and hopefully this will make it easier for you to make your own. Go ahead and follow Houston Frogs on their social medias on Facebook, Instagram, and of course their website at houstonfrogs.com. Follow me on my social medias at CATALEAH on mostly everything, and then my website is cataleah.com. Also, I'm going to be attending the NARBC Arlington Reptile Expo here in Texas. It's going to be September 14th and 15th, so if you're in the area, you should come on out and check out the show. I'll be walking around the entire weekend filming the expo. You can buy your tickets online at narbc.com, and I really hope to see some of you guys there. For more updates on the show, you can follow NARBC on Instagram and Facebook, and of course on their website at narbc.com. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!